As the crippled husks of Leman Russ battle tanks burn on the battlefield, heretic forces celebrate their victory over the armies of the Imperium. Their celebration is cut short by a series of explosions as an arcane fortress emerges from the smoke, spurting gunfire from all over its thick armored hull. The Baneblade super heavy tank has arrived, and the tide of battle has turned. Welcome back to In Lore and on the Tabletop, the series where we compare the in-universe abilities of units to their performance in Warhammer 40,000. The venerable Baneblade is a truly ancient weapon of war, one of the oldest STCs in existence in the Imperium. Once a much more common sight on the battlefield, Baneblade super heavy tanks are now a rarity due to the Imperium's technological regression despite the Mechanicus' best efforts to produce more of them. This is represented on Tabletop in how difficult it is to incorporate them into an army with 40K's detachment system. You need to spend command points on a super heavy or super heavy auxiliary detachment to be able to field them, making it often prohibitively expensive in terms of command points to field multiple Baneblades. On top of this, each Baneblade chassis vehicle costs around 450 points, as much as 3 Leman Russ battle tanks. In lore, Baneblades are rarely but effectively grouped into Steel Fury Baneblade companies, groups of 3 to 5 tanks that are used as dedicated Titan killers. Such terrific formations are unlikely to see battle on the tabletop in normal 40K games, but form an extremely powerful squadron in larger Apocalypse games. Because of their near impregnable armor, many are used as mobile command bunkers by Astra Militarum officers overseeing an advance. This is reflected on Tabletop in the vaunted Praetorian Tank Ace ability, which allows the Baneblade to be used as an officer, capable of issuing orders to Astra Militarum tanks, including Titanic units. The Baneblade is a jack of all trades when it comes to combat abilities, with thick armor, formidable firepower, and decent mobility. The Baneblade has a move of 10 inches on the Tabletop, exactly the same as the Leman Russ battle tank. The Baneblade, however, has a toughness of 9 and 30 wounds compared to the Russ's toughness of 8 and 13 wounds. Once you get to 15 wounds remaining, the Baneblade's ballistic skill, move, and attacks start to degrade. This is one of the main problems with larger vehicles that degrade like this. Your opponent doesn't need to work through all 30 wounds to destroy it outright, but just needs to damage it enough that it's no longer combat effective. Both in lore and on the Tabletop, the Baneblade is vulnerable to high AP, or armor-piercing, anti-tank weaponry, like Meltaguns, as it doesn't have an invulnerable save. Just a 2+ armor save, the same as a normal Leman Russ. The Baneblade's armament is slightly more complex, given the large number of specialized Baneblade variants that see use in the Imperium's armies. The Baneblade itself, mounting a Baneblade cannon, is an effective weapon against most targets. With 3d6 shots, a strength of 9, AP of -3, and 3 damage, it excels at taking out heavy infantry or medium vehicles. The Bane Hammer, a tank generally deployed to reinforce lines of defense, has similar destructive capabilities but a shorter range, 36 inches to the Baneblade's 72. The Bane Hammer, however, also has the ability to transport 25 infantry models. The Bane Sword, a giant self-propelled gun designed to destroy enemy vehicles and fortifications that is typically attached to siege regiments, mounts a powerful quake cannon with d6 + 6 shots, a strength of 14, AP of -4, and 4 damage. The Bane Sword has an impressive 96-inch range, making it capable of hitting targets across the board while safely out of melter range. The Storm Sword fills a similar battlefield role, used to clear enemy-held choke points obstructing a larger assault force. The Storm Sword's main gun, the Storm Sword Siege Cannon, turns enemy fortifications into deadly shrapnel with a powerful concussive blast. The Siege Cannon fires d6 + 6 shots with strength 12, AP -4, and d3 + 3 damage, ignoring light cover. The Doom Hammer, a close-range Titan killer and mobile bastion, mounts a powerful magma cannon with d6 + 3 shots, strength 10, -5 AP, and d6 + 2 damage. In addition, whenever the magma cannon targets a unit within half of its 48-inch range, the damage characteristics becomes d6 + 4. A powerful weapon for close-range engagements to be sure, but bringing a Baneblade chassis vehicle this close to the enemy leaves you vulnerable to enemy countercharges and meltafire. The Hellhammer is optimized for close-quarters urban warfare. It houses a Hellhammer cannon with a staggering 3d6 + 6 shots at strength 7, AP -2, and 2 damage, which ignore light cover. The Stormlord, mounting a Vulcan Megabolter, is a dedicated assault vehicle capable of transporting no less than 40 Astra Militarum infantry models. The Vulcan Megabolter fires 20 shots at a strength of 6, AP-2, and 2 damage, making it excellent at shredding entrenched enemy infantry. Aft of the main gun, the Stormlord has a large firing deck upon which embarked troops can fire the enemy while embarked. This is represented on table in the unique Firing Deck ability, which allows one embarked unit to fire normally from safely behind the thick armor plates of the Stormlord. The Shadow Sword, on the other hand, mounts the gigantic 120-inch range Volcano Cannon, specifically optimized for anti-Titan warfare against Wraith Knights, Gargants, Bio-Titans, and the like. This massive weapon has D3 plus 3 shots, a strength of 18, an AP of -5, and 12 damage. Depending on the variant, Baneblade chassis vehicles also mount an array of secondary weapons, including a demolisher cannon in the hull, a coaxial autocannon, las cannons, and twin heavy bolters, both in the hull and in sponson mounts. Baneblade crews grow so accustomed to the resulting cacophony of noise from all these weapons that they often go insane when exposed to silence for too long outside of their vehicle's noisy hull. Another devastating weapon unique to the Baneblade is its giant adamantium tracks that can be used to simply crush enemy infantry or light vehicles. In-game, this is represented as a -2 AP, 2 damage melee weapon. Coupled with the Crush Them stratagem that makes the Baneblade's weapon skill more effective and generates mortal wounds, this means that the enemy will have to think twice before charging your tank, whereas in previous editions getting charged in such a way could effectively eliminate a close to 500-point unit from the battle. In 9th edition, a pair of las cannon and dual bolter sponsons now come free with the cost of the Baneblade itself, greatly increasing the firepower of the Baneblade and its competitive viability. In addition, super heavy auxiliary units now cost no command points, and it's easy to take a Baneblade in an Arcs of Omen detachment as well. Access to a multitude of tank ace traits and stratagems help Baneblade chassis vehicles to stay viable in competitive matchups, although Baneblades typically lack the synergy of Leman Russ vehicles. Baneblade chassis vehicles are classic Astra Militarum units, and they've received some much-needed improvements with 9th edition and the new Astra Militarum Codex that makes them much more competitively viable. Plus, rules aside, they're just awesome. Please let me know down in the comments what vehicle you'd like to see next on the series, and thank you all for watching. Until next time, Cadia stands.